Ladies and gentlemen, a first pre-release for Minecraft Java Edition 1.17 The Caves and Cliffs Update Part 1 has been released. This one comes with a return of a fan favorite, the candles, a completely new style of glowing signs, as well as all of the new advancements, splash texts and bug fixes. My name is slicedlime and I'm here to guide you through all the changes in this pre-release. But first, before we get into that, what is a pre-release? Well, a pre-release is like a snapshot, but released when all of the features for a version are implemented. That means that from now on until the release of 1.17, we should only expect bug fixes to be in any following pre-releases. This also of course indicates that the release is getting ever closer, although no release date has been announced yet. Now let's get into the changes in 1.17 pre-release 1, starting with blocks and items and candles. After listening to community feedback, Mojang has decided to add candles back into this version. This means that candles are now available without the Caves and Cliffs preview data pack. That includes both the candles themselves, but also all the candle dyeing recipes as well as cakes with candles in them. There's also a change to candles in this version. Candles now have a new distinct texture when they are lit. That means that you don't have to rely on the particles to see if a candle is lit or not. Another change applies to signs. Glowing text on signs from using glow ink on a sign now gives the text a glowing aura or backdrop. That means that no matter what the color of the text is, even dark colors will be visible at night. Let's move on and talk about the new advancements. This version adds 11 new advancements to the game. They are whatever floats your goat, for getting in a boat and floating with a goat. Wax on for applying wax to a copper block. Wax off for scraping wax off of a copper block. The Cutest Predator for catching an axolotl in a bucket. The healing power of friendship for teaming up with an axolotl and winning a fight. Glow and behold for making a sign glow. Light as a rabbit for walking on powder snow with leather boots. Surge Protector for having lightning strike a lightning rod near a villager without setting the area on fire. Is it a bird? For looking at a parrot through a spyglass. Is it a balloon? For looking at a ghast through a spyglass. And is it a plane? For looking at a dragon through a spyglass. Gameplay changes in this version. A change earlier in the Snapshot series meant that entities that were both on fire and in water at the same time no longer showed a flame animation. That bug has been fixed in this version. Entities both in lava and water at once will now show the flame animation. Azalea bushes and flowering azalea bushes can now both be put in flower pots. And both of those can now also be used with bone meal to grow them into azalea trees even while on clay. The axe was still an appropriate tool for breaking moss carpets. That has been fixed in this version. And non-waxed oxidized copper blocks didn't require at least a stone tier pickaxe to be mined. That is fixed in this version. Finally, when you died and you were in motion, then your player would continue simulating. That meant, for instance, that if you died while falling, the screen would continue moving in the background of the death menu. That has been fixed in this version. A couple of mob fixes in this version. Enderman could pick up flowering azalea, but not normal azalea. That has been fixed in this version. Enderman will no longer pick up any type of azalea. And goats will no longer attempt to ram entities that are outside of the world border. Let's talk about world fixes. If you had an old world from before Minecraft 1.9 and placed end crystals on the exit portal in the end, then the Ender Dragon would not respawn. That is fixed in this version. Glow liking could generate floating inside underground structures. That has been fixed. Grass and flowers could generate on top of sand and gravel. And snow layers and grass and more things like that could still generate above lava lakes and water pools. That is fixed in this version. Finally, the coal ore from fossil structures could still generate through bedrock despite the fix in the previous snapshot. That has been fixed in this version. And a number of fixes have been done to cases where terrain features would overwrite more important things, like end portal frames being changed into stone near lava pools. ruined portals generating through end portals, or structures causing corrupt block entities when spawning through spawners and chests. Also, I keep getting comments about people being confused where their worlds end at level 0. If you are confused at why your world is back to the old world height, then click on the iCard right now to take you to the snapshot video where that change was introduced before you post confused comments about world height. Visual changes in this version. If your main hand was empty and you held a loaded crossbow in your offhand, then your main hand would simply disappear. That is fixed in this version. Flowing liquids would look very dark when viewed through tinted glass. That is fixed in this version. Small drip leaves would sometimes overlap and cause sea fighting. That is also fixed. And drip leaves are now held properly in the player's hand. The glowing effect will now properly render even if the entity is invisible. Falling blocks would also flicker out and back into existence when they landed. That is fixed in this version. Let's talk about UI changes, and let's start with changes to splash text. One splash text has been removed. It is woo/v/. A bunch of splash texts have also been added. They are: this splash text has been delayed until part 2. Contains simulated goats. Homemade. There's less than a cat on, my keyboard, tilde. The cutest predator you'll ever meet. Now you're thinking with pistons. Get to the copper. Board game version also available. Honey, I waxed the copper. Plant-based light sources. And made by, quote, real people. The game credits have also been updated, and the bug has been fixed where the background of the credit screen would jitter. There's also a new function in this version where you can hold down the spacebar to increase the scroll speed through the credits. More UI fixes. The item statistics would not change its sorting properly. That is fixed in this version. Absorption hearts now have the wither effect properly, and the selected text when editing a sign no longer blinks. A couple of creative inventory fixes as well. Powder Snow Bucket was not grouped with the other buckets in the inventory, and if you searched for a goat spawn egg, then it would appear in the middle of a whole row of boats. There was a fix in an earlier snapshot that prevented an item that you held in your cursor when closing the creative inventory from disappearing. That fix has now been reverted since it turned out that items could turn into ghost items instead. A couple of sound fixes in this version. Axolotls will no longer chirp while playing dead. And amethyst blocks will now properly make the chime sounds when walked on by all types of mobs. In addition to this, a whole load of performance and stability fixes. Mostly crash fixes, but also a performance fix for a lag spike that would happen whenever the game loaded in custom player head skins. But even with all of those performance and stability fixes, this is still a pre-release, which is still a testing version. So if you want to play on this version, do so on a separate test world, or make sure to maintain backups of your world. Keep in mind that any world that you open in this version can never be safely downgraded to a previous version again. If you want to play this version but you don't know how to, then click on the link in the iCard right now or in the video description. That'll take you to a tutorial video about how to get and play a Minecraft snapshot. And despite being called a pre-release, this is still technically counted as a snapshot. And those are all the main gameplay changes in this version. But of course there are also technical changes, especially in this version with the new advancement, also upgrades to the advancement system. If you're interested in those, keep an eye out for a second video that will be right here after this on the channel, detailing all the technical changes in this version. But that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for any likes, comments, or shares of the video. Any interaction with the video helps out getting the video shown to more people and helps out the channel, so I do appreciate it. Thank you also to some folks who helped out in the making of this video. Thank you Joku, Neuneinser, and Veguin for your help on making this video. If you want more of this type of content, then please make sure to hit the subscribe button, and also remember the little bell icon so you get notified when the videos are done. I make update videos for every new snapshot, pre-release, release candidate, and full release of Minecraft Java Edition. Thank you so much for watching, my name is slicedlime, and I'll see you next time.